Hello, thank you for joining in. In today's video, we are going to learn about RLE function. It's okay if you have not heard about this function. It's a very interesting function and it would be fun to learn. So, what is an RLE function? RLE stands for run length encoding. Let's look at the documentation. It is used whenever you want to calculate runs of equal values in a vector. Still confused? So let me take an example. Consider this vector. Where we are repeating A, B and C values different number of times. Okay. Now, if we want to count number of occurrences of A, B and C in this vector, we can use table. Right, so here using table, it says that A occurs for 5 times, right? B for 3 times and C for 3 times. But now what if you want to consider the first 3 values of A differently than the next 2 values here? Table or any other function to return that the first group of A returns 3 values, first group of B returns 2 values, first group of C returns 3 values, and then this A is again not considered as same as these ones and it should be considered separately, and this group returns 2 values, and similarly this B returns 1. So for such scenarios we use RLE function when we want to consider consecutive values. So as soon as the sequence of consecutive values change, we create a new group or start the sequence again, right? So this is one group, this is second, this is third, this is fourth, and this one is fifth. So these are different groups and we want to count each group individually. Now if we use RLE function here, it returns output of class RLE, which has 2 components. One is lengths and another one is values. So values consist of the value of that variable in that group. So for example, this A represents the A in this group, next B represents B in this group, and C represents this, and so on. The length specifies the length of the group. So since we have A of length 3, we see 3 here. Then we have B of length 2, we see 2 here. Similarly C, we see 3. And this 2 is for this new group, which is A. Notice how it does not merge the values of A, unlike table. In table we can see it considers A as 5 together, but in RLE it considers this A different than this one. So if you store this value in a variable, let's call this temp, and then use temp lengths, you can access the length, and temp values, you can access the values of those groups. There could be various applications of this. For example, let's create another vector of numbers, which is called as y, which has length same as x. Okay, and create a data frame with x and y variable. So this is the data frame. Now what we'll try to do here is sum the groups together. So the first 3 rows should be summed together, the next 2 rows, the next 3 rows, then next 2 and 1. Remember in the last video we learned about aggregate function, using which we can perform this function, but it sums a variable by group if we use that directly here, let's see what happens. So y is the value that we want to sum, x is the group, df is the data frame, and the function we want to apply is sum. See, we get only 3 groups, which is A, B, and C. However, what we want is this A group consists of this first 3 values and also these 2 values, which we don't want. We want them to be treated differently. So maybe we need to create another column here, which would be a group column, which would have value, you know, this group will be called group 1, this is group 2, this is group 3, this is group 3, this is group 4, and this is 5, something like that. A new column with those group values. So if we look at the output of RLE, we can see that we have the information here, but the problem is to create a new column and attach it to this data frame df. We need it to be of the same length. If you check, length is of length 5 and also values. Somehow we need to expand this output such that it creates a vector of length same as the data frame, which is of length 11. So how can we create a new group value? Here we can use sequence along function and iterate over lengths or values. Since both of them would be of same length, let's take values. It creates a sequence from 1 to the length of that vector 5. So this sequence along is same as doing something like this, right? So this is sequence along. So now we want to repeat these 5 values. How many number of times? Lengths time, right? We want to repeat 1 3 times. Then we want to repeat 2 times, and so on. So if we just remember that rep function repeats the values which are given here, and the next argument it repeats it the number of times we want to repeat. The next argument is the number of times that we want to repeat. So which is values here. Sorry, that should be lengths here. Right, now if we check the length of this vector, this is of length 11, which is same as our end row of df. So now we can use this as a new column in the data frame. Now if we check the data frame, you see now a new group is created for first 3 rows, new group is created for next 2, then 3, and then see for a group 4 is created for the A values, which was not present previously, right? This is what we wanted. And now if we use this same aggregate function, instead of x we use this as group now and sum them, you see. So for each group we are summing the corresponding y values. So this 148 is 87 plus 36 plus 25, and this group 4 64 is basically 8 plus 56, right? So this is one of the application of RLE function. There is also a function called RLEID in data table, which does this automatically. Right, so for let's say so we want to create group variable, right? For each x value we can pass x, it gives you the vector directly. So each unique value in x is created as a new group here. So we could have replaced this line with data table RLEID as well. I hope this video was useful, and if you have any suggestion or comments, please feel free to comment on the video. Thank you for watching.